What is up everybody, Hoang here, and today I have another gameplay video for you all featuring Ancient Garurumon versus Ancient Greymon. This video is played by both myself on Ancient Greymon as well as Dewey, who is from the previous gameplay video on the Ancient Garurumon. So without further ado, let's get started, right? So we start off the game, we're just rolling our dice, trying to see who's going first. And in the type of matchup, I personally like to go second as the hybrid player because my opponent is more than likely going to pass me at some increment of 3. We do see that Upamon is going to come out alongside the Strabimon, Strabimon being one of the most prime searchers in the blue hybrid deck, and then he will end up on Sora Joe. Sora Joe is a super powerful tamer that, when given the chance, will be able to capitalize and pass over a lot of memory in this situation. But I'm going to lead with my own BT6 Flamemon, who gives piercing to your Digimon if you're a hybrid or a 10 warrior, and then I'm going to pass over, like I said, 3 memory because it's a hybrid deck, but we're going to have it Tai and Takuya set up, which gives us a lot of tempo going forward because Takuya is a very powerful evolution target, and Tai means that we're guaranteed to go to 3. We do check the Atomic Inferno, which is very, very good for us because, again, we have that piercing, right? So we can kill the Strabimon as well as deal the damage. He does reveal 2 Lobomons, I believe, or it's 1 Lobo, 1 Korikakumon actually, and he ends up grabbing the Davis. So right here, Bokumon proving once again that he is probably the strongest consistency booster in all of the hybrid matchups. In this point in my head, I just have to realize the fact that Korikakumon is going to come down more than likely and going to punish my stun alongside that Sora Joe he already has. He does end up playing the Davis, and he only has 2 valid targets on Korikaku and Strabimon, but we do see that he ends up grabbing the Strabimon probably because he already grabbed that Korikaku off of the Bokumon. So I'm pulling out at this point, and we hit the Atomic Inferno, which does mean all our Digimon does +1 damage. Now we Digivolve into the Burning Greymon, who, because it Digivolved over a hybrid Digimon, will end up popping the Bokumon, and then we can also swing into that Strabimon with the Piercing and deal 2 damage. So really, really powerful stuff. Don't underestimate that Flamemon, right? So at this point in my head, you have to consider the fact that hybrid meta, DP thresholds are overall much lower. So the chance of Burning Greymon living was relatively high, being a 7k, but unfortunately we hit the Beowulfmon, who's also 7k, and so we end our turn on another Burning Greymon. It having a source being Takuya does mean that Sora Joe will not proc. I believe at this point in the game I didn't have anything in my hand that was able to smoothly pass over the turn, and so we just end on the Burning Greymon. But we do see the Kumamon coming on down that will strip away the Burning Greymon source, and then I believe Korikaku, yep, there's the Korikakumon, it will end up stunning the Burning Greymon. And so in this type of matchup, Red Hybrid, while you do have a lot of pressure, especially with all the security power coming out, you do have to remember the fact that you can run out of gas very quickly in an Ancient Greymon variant, and you don't have a lot of extenders because 8 of your slots are dedicated to the Ancient Greymon engine. So his Korikakumon does, fortunately for us, hit the Aldemon, but he will Davis, reveal double Beowulf plus Lobomon. And then, you know, going off of the earlier game, we did, or earlier turn, right, we noticed that he didn't grab a Lobomon, so that signifies he already has a Lobomon, so he ends up grabbing one of the 2 Beowulfmons, and so we will go into our BT6 Flamemon again, and getting that piercing damage, but this Burning Greymon being frozen on the board does mean we're unable to get rid of it into the security, which can be very problematic. That means Sora Joe will end up proccing if we don't take care of it. So as a response, we end up going into another Burning Greymon. So while it doesn't get a pop, it does mean Sora Joe will not gain additional memory. And then we end our turn Digivolving into the Aldemon. This Aldemon is the one that has Delicate Plan in its source, which means it will stop anything like Vulcan Hammer from coming down and you know, shutting us out. So he reveals Bokumon plus Ancient Garurumon and Strabimon, but Strabimon is the only valid option because it only grabs it only grabs hybrids, right? And Ancient Garurumon is an Ancient Warrior, so it's not actually a valid target. We see the Strabimon being Digivolved over at the current moment, and as you can see, we're in a very good position because not only do we have the tie, but also we have a very strong Ancient Greymon setup with everything being said. Strabimon's going to reveal Tommy, Vulcan, and Lobo, so unfortunately the only valid actually, he has Tommy and Lobo. I'm crazy. Yeah, that's really, really strong. But yeah, so at this point, we're looking for an Ancient Greymon angle, or some kind of lethal angle, right? Because of all the security pressure that we're able to emanate. Remember that Tai gives +1 security attack as well, so that's super duper huge. And Yeah, we're looking for it. You see the Ancient Greymon in my hand. Okay, we're going to go for it. Because of the Agunimon, Ancient Greymon is only going to cost 3 to Digivolve into, which is super duper huge. And so this Ancient Greymon currently swings for 4 damage at the current moment. And then because of Aldemon effect, we do stop Vulcan Hammer from passing over our turn. Reveals Madoki, reveals Sora Joe, reveals the Kumamon, and then Burning Greymon is going to swing for game. So going into game 2, my opponent elects to go first, which I would assume is because blue has a lot of tempo that they can, just grab naturally, right? A lot of draw power, and so he does end up leading with the Bokomon. Okay, Bokomon does hit the Lobomon as well as the Davis. That's actually really, really strong for the Ancient Garurumon style. And over on our side, we end up hatching our Kapurimon, and do note we only play 4 eggs because I want to see Kapurimon at every instance. And then we Digivolve into our BT6 Flamemon. My opponent is on the Madoki Betamon, and so normally that doesn't actually do anything very effective against Red Hybrid, but I actually do play the Gravity Crush. So against Gravity Crush specifically, it's actually really potent. But we end up grabbing the BT4 Agunimon, and the reason for that is because we already have Ancient Greymon in our hands, but we're kind of telegraphing that information as well to our opponent, and we have the Agunimon right there. So on the following turn, if we want, we do have the Ancient Greymon combo ready to pop on out, right? So really, really potent stuff. That's 3 damage potentially. He does go for the Davis. That will pass us over to 3. He reveals Korikaku, Ancient Garurumon, and Lobomon. And at this point in my head, I'm feeling really good about myself because we have Ancient Greymon plus the Analog Youth combo set up. That's really, really powerful stuff. But being past at 3 does mean that it's going to be a little bit tricky to our memory's sake, right? Because this Ancient Greymon combo is going to cost 2, and because of that, for Analog Youth and all the interactions, we don't have a lot of cards that pass at 2s. Even if we do pass at 2, he has Davis, so it's really just awkward. We will go for the Atomic Inferno before we go for the Ancient Greymon play. That does give an additional +1 security attack as well as 3k to our Ancient Greymon. So this is actually 4 damage instead of 3 damage. So we hit Bokomon, we hit Davis. Davis is going to eject an additional 3. Really good stuff there. Kumamon, Beowulf, and Strabimon. That's really, really good stuff. Yeah, we're just confirming that it's Kumamon. And then, yeah, at this point, I'm going to blow out majority of his security. Yeah, there's Sora Joe. That's super huge, tempo-wise. Definitely super huge. And then another Strabimon. So Ancient Greymon, really, really safe checks there. And then I end up playing an Atomic Inferno just in a moment here, right? And so while it cannot give the additional security attack and 3k to the Ancient Greymon, because it is not a hybrid, it's an Ancient Warrior, we can still cast it without a valid target, which will allow us to pass at 1 and then trigger the Analog Youth as well as the Ancient Greymon effect. So the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to, I want to pass at 1 specifically, because that means that Analog Youth will end up triggering and give us back our memory and everything. And allow us to hatch our egg, and allow us to just keep up tempo. So I'm very much willing to expend an Atomic Inferno in order to extend my plays like that. I think that was really good. And so we played the Flamemon, it grabs the Aldemon. I think in hindsight, this was actually a misplay on my end to play the Flamemon, I think in hindsight, because now I have to commit an additional resource in order to nullify the Sora Joe, which is then just, of course, asking you to get stripped and frozen on the following turn. So I definitely think that in hindsight, this was a misplay on my end. But nonetheless, that was still a very powerful turn. Our opponent's at 1 security, and you'd think at this point, like, you blew your opponent's security out of the water like that, right? So you must be in a very good position, right? But definitely never count out Blue Hybrid. This deck has a lot of ways to come back into the game with the amount of freezing and whatnot they have. The Kumamon does end up coming out. He will use one of the Davises that he was able to check off the security that will strip away the Flamemon, which would have played me a free Takuya. Very unfortunate in that situation, but still, we're representing lethal at the current moment. Beowulfmon is going to come on out. Beowulfmon, being able to remove this body will nullify any lethal I have because I don't have a red tamer. She checks Burning Greymon, so Beowulfmon does end up living. Not having a red tamer here specifically is going to hurt a lot because now we can't threaten lethal. So he ends up passing the turn on Bokomon. We get choked to 1. That's really, really dangerous territory. Reveals Sora Joe, Analog, Korikaku, Ancient Garuru, and the Lobomon. This is a super high value Bokomon. So he ends up grabbing the Sora Joe and the Ancient Garurumon. And we do know that this probably means that the combo is coming out. He has Sora Joe, he has Davis. He probably will have enough memory to fund this play. And at this point, I'm trying to think to myself, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Right? It's a really disadvantageous board state for us at the current moment, so we end up just passing our turn over on the tie, because there's not really much we can do, right? We have to hope that he's unable to kill us at this point, right? And at this point, I'm banking on the Atomic Blaster being in security, because if you lit the two Bokos, Madoki, and the Strabimon are perfectly 8,000 DP for Atomic Blaster to kill, but our opponent does play intelligently and goes for the Ancient Garurumon play prior to that, so now we no longer have the correct configuration to kill our opponent. If we had sacked the Atomic Blaster. And then he decides to swing the Strabimon first to bait out the Atomic Blaster, and what do you know, we actually do hit the Atomic Blaster, but unfortunately, that will not be enough to actually stop our opponent's lethal in this situation, because given the configuration, because now we can either kill all the level 3s, or we can kill the Beowulfmon. So we do end up just killing the level 3s. I need this Beowulfmon to die, but he hits the Burning Greymon, which is just 1k DP short. That does unfortunately mean that he will have enough lethal, and yeah, that's going to be the game. So overall, was a really, really good back and forth coming out of both players. You saw, game 1, we opened up the Ancient Greymon with that Aldemon coming down for 4 damage that just slams our opponent completely. Vice versa, that other game, we weren't able to close out the game. He had the freezing, he had the bouncing, he had everything to drag it out. Even though we inflicted 4 damage, which against a lot of other decks would normally be enough to close out the game. In that situation, he was able to come back and lethal us from 4 security because of the Ancient Garurumon combo. So regardless, we're gonna get into the deck profile, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the deck choices, right? Alright everyone, so we're joined here today with Dewey, who's piloting the Ancient Garurumon deck. Dewey, I wanted to ask you your thoughts, right? Ancient Garurumon is not a very common deck in the meta. We're not seeing a lot of it. We're seeing mostly stun variants, right? So what makes you want to play Ancient Garurumon, right?
Well, the reason why I want to play Ancient Garurumon is because I want to use the fact that now we pass around 3 memory tempo, and it just plays within Ancient Garuru's it plays within Ancient Garuru's memory allowable. 2, a lot of bodies now that can survive hitting into security, because they're playing 12 to 13 tamers, they're playing options, and very few Digimon, so we'll be able to swing safely.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. So in your opinion, what cards performed really, really well? Like even overperformed, if you would.
I think Boko's really, really good into the Ancient Garu line, because we're able to search it off of 10 warriors also. I would probably play it at 4 instead of 3. And then I found out that Sora Joe actually comes up a lot more than I thought, so I actually bumped that up too.
Okay. And then were there any cards that you felt underperformed in this deck?
I think the card that feels underperformed is some of the hybrids. I mean, the Korikaku is really good. I just wish Kumamon was something else that we could use. I mean, I really want to try the Kendo Guru jamming, but I don't know if it's worth the exploration without Koji.
Right. And so, Kendo Gurumon getting that jamming, if it's on top of hybrid, do you, since you're running the Strabimon that grants you additional memory, do you foresee that potentially coming into play in your testing?
I think it will, because that jamming just adds extra aggression to our build, right? Yeah.
Okay. And then in this situation, let's say you don't go with Kendo. Would you consider BT4 Lobomon over Kumamon, being the 5,000 DP threshold means that you're more likely to survive in security, which is more, it leads to more Ancient Garurumon procs, right? Would you consider that?
I think I would consider that, yes, because 5k is still a very... I mean, we've noticed so far in testing in this meta that, even 3ks live through checks quite a bit.
Right. Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No closing thoughts. I think this build's really fun, and I think it just adds to my favorite decks that like to swing a lot in one turn.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dewey. And next we'll go into Ancient Red. Alright, now we have the Ancient Greymon deck. This is slightly different than the one I posted previously on the channel, although very minor changes overall. We do play the Gravity Crush. The idea behind the Gravity Crush is that after you go for the Ancient Greymon combo, it's supposed to be an extender that allows you to squeeze in an additional hybrid. But I actually felt, and because we only have 6 hybrids that can Digivolve over a Tamer, that actually came up a lot, where, we were feeling a lot of that impact. And I also wish we had a little bit more Red Tamer, personally, but I think that was just small variants, impacting my decision-making. I think a card that I actually really want to consider in the future is the BT5 Omnimon. I think BT5 Omnimon giving you the ability to close out the game would have been super huge. And then there was a couple of games where I could have Emperor Greymon, but I wasn't able to fill my trash fast enough in order to get the Emperor Greymon lethal off before Ancient Garurumon was able to just outright blow me out of the water. But yeah, overall, I think this deck is fine. I would definitely entertain the Omnimon, though, as the extender, especially since we're running so few hybrids, and I would also consider bumping up the amount of hybrids that can Digivolve over Tamer. A Gunimon to 4, maybe. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys found this video, entertaining and whatnot. So, if you liked it, make sure you let us know and, generate some traction, right? Because these videos take a long time. So, thanks.